The friendlies are complete. It's time for England to head off to the Euros. Up the England. Hello and welcome to our channel. We are covering the Euros this summer. We're going to start off on today's episode with a fan reaction to England's final two friendlies ahead of the Euro tournament as a whole. So we played two friendlies, won both from 1-0, Austria and Romania. Joined by Ryan, Hannah and Justin tonight. So Justin, talk us through how you thought the game against Austria was for England.
Yeah, it was a bit of a funny game, really. I think these pre-sort of tournament games are very difficult games to sort of be involved in, aren't they? You know, nobody wants to get injured, which unfortunately happened to Trent right at the end of that game. And players don't really know how to sort of attack them, do they? Because you can sort of see they're not going full tilt. They don't want to. They want to do enough to sort of convince the manager that they're worthy of a place in the team without really trying to sort of go over the top in it. And it did have a real training ground feel to it, didn't it? Jack was really good. The rest of them going through the motions a bit. I know that the Man City players and the Chelsea players wasn't there, and it did feel a bit odd that he'd kept hold of the players that he'd released as well. So like Lingard and Watkins and Godfrey was still around. So yeah, it was a decent run out, I suppose. You know, Jack got minutes under the belt. I mean, we're going to talk a bit about England, but obviously we want to keep an eye on our other players, and we had three in the squad. But Mings did really well. Jack is just Jack, isn't he? You know, he's playing himself hopefully into a place at least as first substitute, if not a starting place in that first game next week. But yeah, I think Southgate will be pretty pleased, really. You know, he's trying to sort of jiggle it about, and he's trying to work out exactly. Again, most of the players that played in that game are probably not going to be major starters for us. But everybody did okay. We won the game. So apart from the Trent injury, you know, it all went off pretty well, really. So yeah, it was a decent enough game. But again, very difficult to sort of judge, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And then it's followed up by another win against Romania. Same vibes, wasn't it, really? Again, a mismatch of players. Some probably going to start, some probably aren't. Standout player for me was probably a player that's not even in the squad at all, was Ward-Prowse. I thought he was really good and hopefully on the way to the team that's behind us. But I thought Ward-Prowse was very, very good. Grealish again. I mean, virtually every time he plays for England, he gets man of the match now. We all think he's playing at a 6 or a 5 out of 10 at the minute. Do you know what I mean? So when he does announce his name on the international stage, the whole world will be taking note. But you know, I thought we played okay today. I thought we looked very sloppy at the back, definitely sloppy at the back today. And everybody knows in international football that if you're coming up against top quality opposition, you can't make stupid mistakes. And tonight, we'd have been punished definitely against the top sides. But again, I thought we did okay. Ryan, how did you feel like we played?
Yeah, it's just been a bit dysfunctional, hasn't it? Even the three friendlies before these two, so the five that we've had, I just haven't got a clue what team or what formation we're going into this tournament. So I hope Southgate knows, but I have learnt a few things. Southgate's suit and shirt combo is dreadful. I'm not on board with that at all. You know, the waistcoat was all right in the World Cup, but that shirt is dreadful. It's awful. Yeah,
I feel like he's got something in his locker for the Euros, though.
Yeah, it's like a temping bowling suit. I'm getting like kingpin vibes, like Bill Murray. But yeah, I'm with you, Luke, as well. James Ward-Prowse. Us Villa fans all had a close eye on him today, and he didn't disappoint. And I feel like he's got to be number 26. He's played right back as well, so Southgate will like that, given his love of right backs. And like you say, I think Jack has got to start. Preferably, I think he's better on the left, you know. I just think he gets on the ball more, he's facing the goal. So, yeah, I'd love to see him on that left-hand side. And like you say, everyone's raving about him, and we're thinking, flipping now, 5 or 6 out of 10. we know he can go up levels, and he created those 2 goals really, didn't he? The one against Austria, he caused trouble for Saka to tap in, and today he won the penalty. So for me, Jack has got to start, and Bellingham, I think over the 2 games, Bellingham's impressed me a lot. So
I mean,
all starts soon, doesn't it?
The thing with Grealish, went to the left-hand side, first touch of the ball, give and go, penalty.
Yeah.
Deadly from that left-hand side. Absolutely deadly. I don't want to talk about Grealish too much tonight, but I felt like when he was playing at that 10 today, the game just passed him by. He's coming. It was like Grealish of old, drifting further back to pick up the ball, and we know he's not lethal there. He's not lethal, but on the left, smashed it. Hannah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think either game were really the best advertisement for international football. At times, they're a little bit boring. I think pretty much what you've all said. From today's game, it was Ward-Prowse, I think, that stood out the most. I mean, Jack obviously got the man of the match in the end for basically winning us the penalty, I think. But Ward-Prowse was one of the only players that looked really comfortable. I think especially the back line. I think it was actually White that was our best defender tonight, which sort of surprised me. It's not someone that I've particularly paid much attention to before. I think Mings, Shaw and Godfrey all look shaky, and that's what you get when you put 11 pretty much strangers on the pitch together. You could tell they weren't a unit, particularly in the first half. Nothing really happened because there was a lot of sideways back passing. There wasn't that fluidity that you'd get in a team that perhaps had played together a few times. So Ward-Prowse I think was one of the only players that looked like they had a little bit of something in them. I mean, was it Sancho or no? It was Calvert-Lewin's header in the first half that went off the crossbar that came from Ward-Prowse's free kick. I mean, that's something that, going back to Villa, that's something we would really love, being able to have a really good set piece taker. Second half, it was much the same. I think obviously we got a second penalty as well, which was a bit wasted.
Definitely.
But the fact is that it was just a little bit frustrating that the only 2 real good chances for goals came from penalties, which I don't really think is good enough. I know I'm being a bit of a Debbie Downer, not really good enough at international level, but it was 11 new players. Most of them probably won't feature much at all in the competition, especially the likes of Watkins and Lingard that will probably be on their way home, because I do suspect it will be Ward-Prowse now that takes up the 26th shirt, given the fact that we don't have much competition in the midfield. So it was one of them. We won the games. They were comfortable, but nothing particularly exciting or interesting, in my opinion.
Cool. So let's talk about England going into this tournament now. We've got Croatia, Scotland and Czech Republic in our group. If we win our group, we look like we'll be playing second place out of France, Portugal and Germany. Based on that, I think we need to improve massively. My issue at the minute, I don't want to sound too downbeat at all. My issue at the minute is I can't believe we're going into a major tournament and nobody has a clue on what the team's going to be, what formation we're going to play. I think the only player you know he's going to play is Kane. And then you go into defence, you're thinking Maguire, if he can walk, he's probably going to play because he just literally loves him. So that's just my little bit of an issue, is I just don't know who we're going to play. And I'd like us to know going into a major tournament who we got. So Justin, what's your thoughts on it all?
I actually think there is one man that knows exactly how we're going to play, and that's Gareth Southgate. And he takes a lot of stick, and I've given him stick because I'm not convinced he's the right man for the job, but he's the man that's got the job. And you've got to give him kudos. He's took us to a World Cup semi-final, so it's not a bad CV, is it, so far? And I do think he's pretty much set on his 11. I'm not sure many of us could probably pick it exactly right. We could probably get 9 or 10 of them. But I think his biggest problem, not even a problem going into this tournament, is has he got the balls to stick the players in that we all know would give us the best chance to win the tournament? And by that, I mean, is he going to stick with his tried and trusted Rashford, Sterling types, or can he find his ball somewhere and stick Foden and Grealish in? Because for me, and Bellingham, I'll stick Bellingham into that as well, because he's trying his hardest to get Henderson fit in that team. And I sort of understand why he wants Henderson and Maguire around, because again, these are players that have taken England and him to a semi-final of a World Cup, and every manager has their players who they like. They're probably good around the ground, they're probably good around training, they're good blokes to be around. So I understand why he wanted to get them into the squad, because they've been around England for a long time. But I think now, if we're going to evolve as a nation, we have got some absolutely phenomenal footballers in this squad. Now, I go back quite a long way to '86 when I watched my first ever international tournament. And I've said this quite a few times about us having really good squads going into tournaments. But I genuinely think this is our best shot at winning a major tournament in probably my lifetime, looking at the players we've got going in that 26. And my biggest concern is, have we got the manager as well? And we'll find out over the next month or so if that's the case. But I do think if he can find the right balance of players, I personally don't think he'll start Jack, although I would. But I think by the time we get to the second and third game, he will have come on and had an impact big enough to start the game. So whether he starts him or not, he will eventually become a critical member of that team. But when you look at Foden, at Bellingham, 17 years old, Bellingham's a phenomenon. You know, we've got a great back four. We've got great goalkeepers. I thought Sam Johnson was excellent again tonight. You know, he's a great player. But yeah, we're going into a tournament, in my opinion, with a really, really good shot of winning it. I think Germany aren't the team they used to be. France are a big threat. But I watched Spain, Portugal the other night, not pulling up any trees for me. So yeah, I think we are the favourites by the bookies. You can't always go on that, but I do genuinely think if we can get it right early enough, then if we can build momentum, you know, it's not that important to start massively well. You don't want to lose your first game, but you want to, you know, Italia 90, we built into that tournament. Euro 96, we wasn't brilliant in the group stages, but we got through it, and then you get better and better and better. And that's what we want to do. We want to improve every single game. So don't lose to Croatia, try and beat them, and then just improve as the tournament goes on. And I do see us going very, very far in this tournament.
Optimistic as always. Hannah, how do you feel like England are going to do?
I think it would be an absolute disaster if this team doesn't get to the final stages, and Southgate would have to lose his job if we don't do well in this tournament. I'm sorry, but with the set of players, if we can't do it with this squad, I'm sorry, but when will it happen? Because yes, he's gonna stick with probably Maguire and Stones, Henderson, maybe Sterling, even though personally I wouldn't. But he's got his favourites. But then again, will they turn up because they've got that tournament experience? And then we've got these exciting players, Grealish, Bellingham and Foden have to start for me, because you watch them and they're always the ones that are going to try and move the ball forward. And I think that's what frustrates me sometimes watching England, is that they don't always look to play the forward ball, sometimes a bit slow and a bit predictable. But when you've got these players, these young, creative, exciting players that are going to break up the play, we know that they can do it. They can do it against anyone, in my opinion. I don't see why they can't. So I'm positive. As much as I've just moaned about how boring these two games were, at the end of the day, they were friendly. I don't think, like Justin said, they're a good reflection of what we're going to see this summer. But it would be an absolute disaster if we fail in this tournament. I really think it will. And I'm going to have my positive hat on the whole way until I'm given a reason not to believe. So we've just got to put the faith in these young creative players, because they're going to be the ones that I think carry us, rather than perhaps the ones that Southgate will trust. So,
to be fair, I am with you both. I think if he picks the right players, we'll go far in the tournament. And I think if he picks who I probably think we are going to start with, then it would be a little bit of a worry for me. Ryan, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I echo what Justin and Hannah are saying, to be fair. I was speaking to a few of my friends last night and I was asking, how does Southgate keep his job? And I think semi-finals is minimum, really, with this squad. So I just, like you say, Justin, he's got to just grow a pair of balls and just go for it, really, hasn't he? The end game really was Qatar World Cup, wasn't it? That's what they're aiming for. So if Southgate wants to see that through, I think he's got to go for those young, exciting kids. I don't think we're that great at the back. So let's attack. Let's score more goals than everybody else. Yes, there's some, I think we should win the group because the next game's at Wembley. That'll be 4 games at Wembley. So we should be able to we should be able to, if we've got any ambition of winning this tournament, we should be winning our home games. And then quarterfinals will be a game in Russia then. And then we're back at Wembley for the final 2. So it's a massive, massive opportunity. The build up to this tournament, I'm not getting the vibe, but it's a home tournament for us pretty much, isn't it? And, the build up, I know the current climate we're living in, the pandemic, it's took the edge off it, but it's a home tournament for us. And, like you say, 96, 98, we grew into these tournaments. So hopefully we can get off to a solid start and just build and grow. But for me, the biggest issue is the formation. I just don't know what formation we're going to go. We played 4 at the back for the last 2. And as soon as the game finished, ITV was asking the pundits, predict your 11. What, add 3 at the back? Yeah. And they're just asking them to predict the 2 wingers. And I'm thinking, well, you've had the players to play 3 at the back in these 2 games. So if you're going to go 3 at the back, you would have played 3 at the back, wouldn't you? But I do think you might mix it up with opposition, but you've got to get these talents in. You've got to get Jack on the ball. You've got to get Foden on the ball. And Croatia, the semi-final that we lost at the World Cup, if we'd had Grealish and Foden who could keep hold of the ball, then we would have been in the final, because that's where we struggled. Once we went a goal up, we couldn't hold on to the ball. So it's going to be a good tournament, I feel. I feel there's going to be some stars in it. Like, you go back to 98 when Beckham and Owen broke through, and they didn't start the first couple of games, and then they exploded into life. Maybe Beckham at the best example when he kicked Simeone, but with that same vibe, let's get these kids in, and they're fearless, aren't they? So let them go in and let them attack, and let's bring it home. Football's coming home.
I think on that point, Ryan, on the Southgate, I do think he'll stick with his tried and trusted in the first game. So let's say he goes Rashford and Sterling. But I think it's a no-lose situation for him if you think about it, because if he throws them in and they're brilliant, then they stay in the team and we're winning. So that's fine. I'm happy as long as we're winning. If they are all brilliant for 6 games and that's the same 11 players in all 6 games, we win the tournament. So I'm happy. But if they don't do it, he's got the new generation to come on. So that's what I'm saying about Jack. I'll be gutted he doesn't start the tournament, because we all know here that he's good enough and he should be starting. But what I know is that as soon as he gets that chance, he'll just go, thank you very much, that's my shirt, I'm having it now. Because once we're into tournament football, Southgate, then his whole job revolves around going far in this tournament. So it's not a qualifier, it's not a friendly where he can do all this stupid stuff he does before. He knows he's got to win every game. And once Bellingham and once Foden and once Grealish gets in that team in a tournament situation and they're doing the business, he won't be able to leave them out. And that's the most imperative thing. And like you say about the 3 and the 4, Italia 90, we start with the back 4. We ended up with the 3 at the back and wing backs. So it evolves, and we've got the squad that can evolve, and we've got the squad that we can chop and change it and have different formations. So it all comes down to the manager, doesn't it? And that's where everybody's biggest question mark lies, unfortunately, at the moment. I just hope he can do what he did at the World Cup and inspire them.
Let's hope so.
Can I just butt in there? I've just been listening to you both, and I think adding all that together with what we're saying about him needing to obviously trust the new players, but also go with what he knows. I think what we saw the last 2 games is we know that he needs to keep almost like a spine to this team. So obviously it's going to be something that he learns throughout the tournament, but there needs to be like a core foundation to the team that's going to keep it balanced and steady. Obviously what we know is we relate it back to Villa. So we know that there's the core sort of spine to the team that starts from the back. So, if someone gets injured or if you need to make a different tactical change to the game, you're still going to have that spine to the team that sort of keeps the ship steady. Because like tonight, when you've got 11 new players, you see it doesn't work, it doesn't gel. So if he plays his normal starting 11 against Croatia, for example, and it doesn't work, and then he changes drastically, not saying he would against Scotland, then it won't work. And then it will be like everyone will go into panic and it'll be like, oh, no one knows what they're doing. What are we doing? So I think it's going to be sort of like a test over the first few games to see what works. But having that core to the team that is pretty much steady throughout the tournament, it's probably going to be Maguire and Henderson. I think is really important, because you've got to have that sort of authority, the captain, and the strong personality that will, if things go haywire, you can always rely on them to be there. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think as well, our group is more difficult than I think a lot of people look at that group, because Croatia are a very, very solid team. You know, they will be very difficult to beat. The Scotland game is going to be pure passion on their behalf, and they've still got some very, very good players. McGinn, I think he's probably going to have a fantastic season. So I just think it's crucial that we just do get off to a very, very good start, and we are bang at it. So the channel is going to cover the fan reactions for England, but we're also going to have previews for each week as a tournament. So we'll be chatting about the different teams, different games, how the groups are looking as well. So it won't just be solely focused on England. So we're going to go around now and we'll have a little prediction on where we feel like England are going to finish in this tournament. I'm going to say out in the quarterfinals. Ryan?
We're going to make the final. Come on, get my optimistic head on.
Oh my God.
Don't know if we'll win it, but we'll get the final.
Hannah?
This is horrible.
On the spot.
I don't know whether to put my optimistic hat on or to be realistic. I'm going to say we're going to get to the semi-finals, and then it's going to be like penalty disaster or something. There's going to be something like heartbreak again, like the World Cup.
Well, hopefully Henderson's not picking up the ball.
Not taking the penalty.
No.
Yeah, I'm going to say we're going to get far, but I'm not going to say we're going to win it or get to the final, because then it will be like a happy surprise if it does happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'll be like, well, I was right.
So I've sort of downplayed it with the quarters, so I'll be happy if we get past it. And, Justin, come on then. We're lifting that trophy.
There's only one thing.
Do you expect anything less?
It's coming home. The trophy's coming home.
He's so jokes.
100% winning the tournament. It's got Euro 96 written all over it, but we're going to go 2 steps further. Scotland in the second game, exactly the same. Like Ryan said, almost a home tournament. Wembley all the way. Hopefully coming out of this pandemic, everybody's going to be up for it. We're going to start winning early and we're going to go on and win the tournament.
Right, we'll end it there then. So thanks everyone for watching. Subscribe to this channel and get in the comments where you feel like England are going to finish, or whatever nation you're following. Let us know where you feel like they're going to finish. So thanks for watching.